Acton. I'm a writer and this is Wild Writing. Wild Writing is commissioned by Activate as part of the Micro Commissions programme and is run in partnership with Stepping into Nature. Wild Writing means going outdoors into nature to get creative, and really it's all about the intention, just setting 10 to 20 minutes aside when you don't have to do other things. So you could be just pottering around in your garden, sat in front of an open window at home, or like me today, out on a walk with a notebook and pen. I'm here at Golden Cap this evening, and today's theme, nature theme, is the weather. And I'd like to start by asking you the question of how the weather affects your mood. It's just something to think about. And I'd like to invite you to do a bit of automatic writing. And for those of you who haven't done that before, automatic writing is 5 minutes of non-stop writing. And the aim is really to not tell a story, not start at the beginning, go to the middle and then the end. It's a bit like the morning pages. It's just getting everything down on the page and hopefully writing, first of all, probably what you know, and then maybe exploring something that surprises you that you didn't know. So with that question in mind of how the weather affects you, I just want you to pick a weather that you have a sort of strong feeling about. So intense sunshine, and then just imagine that the weather's been like that for about 100 years, and just put yourself in that mind frame and say it had been intensely sunshining for 100 years, and then just go and see where you get to. I'm not going to time you with this, so you might want to press pause and time yourself for 5 minutes, and I'll see you in a moment. Now I'd like to invite you to make 2 lists in your notebook, and on one side just write down as many different types of weather that you can think of, so a raindrop, a snowflake, great big clouds, gales, storms, etc. And then on the other side I want you to write some types of colour that you would associate with weather, but be really specific about those colours. So it might be bright gold or pale lemon or lime, and maybe press pause and just write 5 to 10 of each of those side by side. And when you've done that, I'd like you to randomly pair those up. And really this is just a playful way of shaking out of putting the things that come first into your mind, like a grey cloud. So by randomly pairing them up, you might get a lime green cloud or a bright gold raindrop. So do that with all of them, just pair them up and then choose your favourite one, and that's going to be the title to a final piece that I'll invite you to do in a moment. But before we go into that, I'd like to read you a couple of poems about the weather. And the first one is called Weathers by Thomas Hardy. This is the weather the cuckoo likes, and so do I. When showers betumble the chestnut spikes and nestlings fly, and the little brown nightingale bills his best, and they sit outside at the traveller's rest, and maids come forth, sprig muslin dressed, and citizens dream of the south and the west, and so do I. This is the weather the shepherd shuns, and so do I. When beaches drip in browns and duns and thresh and ply, and the hill-hid tides throb, throw on throw, and meadow rivulets overflow, and drops on gate bars hang in a row, and rooks in families homeward go, and so do I. And the second poem is called The Warm and the Cold by Ted Hughes. Freezing dusk is closing like a slow trap of steel on trees and roads and hills and all that can no longer feel. But the carp is in its depth like a planet in its heaven, and the badger in its bedding like a loaf in the oven, and the butterfly in its mummy like a viol in its case, and the owl in its feathers like a doll in its lace. Freezing dusk has tightened like a nut screwed tight on the starry aeroplane of the soaring night. But the trout is in its hole like a chuckle in a sleeper. The hare strays down the highway like a root going deeper. The snail is dry in the outhouse like a seed in a sunflower. The owl is pale on the gatepost, like a clock on its tower. So now I'd like to invite you to write a poem or a piece of prose or a short story. You've already got the title because you've chosen those random pairings, so mine might be Bright Gold Raindrops. And then the 7-line poem is really set it in the place where you're sitting now. Choose some of the weathers that you've been thinking about and pairing up. Add in a character. It could be yourself, or it could be another character or creature who is at the centre of it, and show what that character is, what's going on inside them as well as what's going on outside them. And see how you get on. It's sometimes good to have restrictions, so it sounds really easy to write a 7-line poem or story, but it means you'll have to make some decisions. Every word has to fight for its place. We'd really love to see your wild writing, so please do send it in to us to share. The details are above this post and on the Activate website. Before I go, I'll just give you a tip for today's workshop activity, and that is that creativity is the achievement in itself. Actually putting time aside, putting pen to paper, that is the achievement. Everything else is exploration, play. You don't know where you're going to go with it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Good luck, and see you next time.